Hiring for any role is really difficult to be able to figure out that process that works well. It's an always iterating process, but I want to try to help you skip some stages and be able to save time from mistakes that I've made when going through that workflow. Now, for every role, whether it's customer support, whether it's engineering, whether it's a management role, operations, whatever it is, getting the right person in the right spot is such a cliche when we all know that it's so important. We know we got to get the right person, we got to hire slow, fire fast. Okay, we get it. But what's key here is really nailing the process of interviewing so that you can compare candidates very evenly, but also you can use that to be able to help filter people out. So there's an aspect of gut sometimes, but what gut comes from is doing it over and over and having that process to compare back to. Some sort of level line for you to say, wow, this person beats the average that I've been talking to, or this person is at average or below. I'm Bruce Ackerman, founder of Printavo, and I want to talk to you guys about how we have built our workflow around hiring, around a couple different roles, so that way you can be able to take some of these and be able to apply them to your company. Now, we have 22 full-time people as of now, whenever this video is being uploaded, and this has taken about 3 years to be able to do this, and we're continually hiring and looking for about 9 to 10 different team members around engineering, and design, and product, marketing, and all that. So we're always trying to interview for a couple different roles at a time. So the first thing though I want to say about hiring is this top funnel. It's this sourcing aspect and being able to get people into this top of the funnel. Now hiring though, you really have to think about it like sales in a way, where you're going to get 100 people up top, maybe 50 people you're going to want a phone screen, 20 maybe are good, and a couple are the few that you want to be able to make an offer to. Now, on top of that, we average say that you have to talk to about 20 to 30 people to be able to fill one role. And why I say that number is because it sets really good expectations so that you don't get tired and burnt out when you talk to 10 people or 15 people. Just expect that you're going to have to talk to more. Could you get lucky and only talk to 1 or 2? Yeah, 100%. And that is the best. That feels so good because of the time saved. But it's not usually what happens. Now, personally, I don't hire friends or people that are really close to family or friends. And the reason is because I want to be able to objectively help manage them. And if things don't work out, I don't want to cause problems there. So I've never done that right out of the gate. Okay, so sourcing. For engineering types of roles, it's a lot more difficult because engineers are in such big demand and you're competing with big startup companies that are VC funded, medium-sized, small companies. You're competing with a lot of different businesses that are out there that are also looking for talent and always looking for engineering talent. So you have to play smart and play different. Play in the cracks and areas that they're not. One of the things that we really lean on is referrals. Now, referrals don't tend to work very well until you have about 5 or 10 people, but you could still ask friends about people who were good that you'd like to be able to work with again. And if you don't have any team to be able to ask that yet, then you can always ask friends again and be able to lean on them. And if they're not looking, ask them who might they know who would be looking as well. But I always reach out. I tend to do email, I think, is the best way of reaching out. There's obviously LinkedIn and connecting, but the difference is between technical and non-technical roles are that technical roles get LinkedIn blasted constantly by LinkedIn recruiters and by just spam and all that stuff. And so they're always being recruited on LinkedIn. And so I find that email tends to work better, or by connecting with them on Twitter, or just building a relationship elsewhere. Non-technical roles, you can definitely be able to reach out in LinkedIn, send them an in-mail message, pay for LinkedIn recruiter, and really start sourcing people from there and be able to reach out. Now, we also use built-in quite heavily, so you can post job postings there, but we've really found more success off of LinkedIn and just Twitter or email. Okay, so that's the sourcing high level. It just takes time, it takes patience, it takes follow-up, it just takes the hard work of doing it. Now, the phone screen is the real first touch though of building a good relationship with them. This is when you're going to be able to sift through and understand in about 30 to 40 minutes whether there's somebody you want to proceed with either a final round or a second phone screen if you have other people in your team that you want them to talk to. Here's what we do for the phone screen. First, you want to really be able to plan out the questions that you're asked. You're going to ask questions about what are they truly passionate about, and then ask them deeper questions about that. Depending on the role that they're working in, you're going to want to figure out those questions to really fit the problems that you're truly having. Don't come up with these theoretical questions about what is your strengths and weaknesses. That is ridiculous. Ask actual questions about what you're looking for and the characteristics of what you care about in that person. For example, in customer support, we really care about people that are good on the phone. We care about people who are empathetic, for people who write well, for people who can figure out problems and problem solve. So our questions are around that. Tell me about a really difficult customer in the last couple months. How did you handle it? Oh, why did you decide that? How did you figure it out? What did you do next? How did that make you feel? And if we're testing for empathy, what we're also doing in the interview is constantly poking at them and asking why and why'd you do that? And they're either going to break, which we've seen, or they're going to be calm and continue to be able to have a good conversation. So not only are we trying to ask these questions, but we're sort of trying to test to see, are they who they actually say they are? Keep asking questions. Now, another really great tip is project-based interviews. This is the second stage that we do for a lot of our roles. So for customer care, we've got about 4 to 5 different questions. Hey, a customer says this, what do you do? I cannot emphasize enough that project-based interviews are so crucial to eliminating bad candidates. So crucial. And the reason is because either A, they don't want to spend the time on it, and so they're going to show you that and not either respond or give you some half-assed answer, or B, maybe they just don't spell things right. And if you're not spell checking in the interview stage, come on. So this really helps sift who is going to put in the extra mile, who really cares about this role, who wants this role, and that project is what we'll give them. And we do that with sales, we do that with customer support, we do that with success. Now for engineering, we do a project, but in the final interview now over Zoom, where we work through a couple different examples and different problems together. But these project-based interviews, it shows how they think, it shows how much they care, and it shows how well they can execute. Now we take that project-based interview and we ask them to do it on their own time after the phone screen. From there, if they do a good job on that, then we'll want to do the final round of interview, and that is with our team via Zoom now, and that's where we ask them more in-depth questions about what they're truly passionate about and how they would solve different problems that we have right now, and then we ask them about their project. Why did you answer it this way? Why did you frame the question this way? If you could go back, how would you have done it better? And if they're really curious and they really care, or maybe they ask for feedback, then we know that we're on the right track of picking the right person. Now here's a bonus tip. We work with a lady named Wendy who runs a company called BHRS Partners. And they're an HR firm, but what's really cool is that we have her talk to about half to 2/3 of the candidates before they get the project. And she asks great questions about them and their background and where they're at, and then writes a great report so that we can be able to see everything that she picked up on from the interview. Now, where this is powerful is that candidates tend to be more relaxed with her as somebody outside the company, and they'll tend to tell her more things about what they're interested in or what's going on in their life and all these other different aspects about them. And this has really been able to help sift off that candidate as well. So for any role, you're really trying to open up the top of the funnel as much as possible, right? And then be able to continually break it down until you have somebody that is incredible. Biggest tip here though is that A players and really strong team members are worth about 3 average team members. So take the time and really be able to spend time with them and understanding if they're the right person and they're right fit to your team and to your company. Promise you, you won't be upset about waiting a little bit longer to find the right person, rather than just rushing to get somebody in that may not be a cultural fit or may just be problematic, and then you have to start all over again in the future. If you have any questions or tips, I'd love to be able to help answer them. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Bruce Ackerman.